Lawyers, what's your most savage I rest my case moment? I defended a teenage barista named Jamie who was accused of stealing $340 from the register at this popular local coffee shop. Jamie had worked there for almost a year with perfect reviews, but suddenly the owner was threatening criminal charges. The poor kid was shaking when I met him. First job, college loans piling up, and now facing potential theft charges. The owner, Mark, was this mid-40s guy who drove a Tesla and constantly talked about his MBA. He showed up to our meeting with security camera footage that showed the register being short exactly $340 on 3 separate days when Jamie worked. The footage wasn't great quality, but showed Jamie opening the register multiple times. My other employees don't have register shortages, Mark kept saying. And see how nervous the kid looks? Classic guilty behavior. Jamie broke down in my office after that meeting. I swear I didn't take anything, they sobbed. My mom co-signed my apartment lease. If I get a criminal record, we both lose everything. Jamie explained how they'd been working double shifts to help their mom, who'd been battling breast cancer. The coffee shop job wasn't just about college loans. It was keeping a roof over their heads. I believed Jamie, but the evidence looked damning. 3 separate days with identical shortages, all during their shifts. Tell me about Mark, I asked. What's he like as a boss? Jamie's expression darkened. He acts nice when customers are around, but the second they leave, they described how Mark would hover behind female employees, checking their technique, how he'd dock pay for minor infractions, but only for employees who wouldn't flirt back. And sometimes I'd count the register at the start of my shift, and the numbers would already be off. When I told Mark, he'd just say I was counting wrong and to sign off on it anyway. That detail hit me like a truck. Jamie wasn't just signing in for shifts. They were unknowingly documenting discrepancies that already existed. I asked to see all the security footage from those days, not just the register clips. Mark hesitated, but eventually agreed when I mentioned getting a court order. The next day, his tune completely changed. Maybe we can work something out privately, he suggested, suddenly very interested in settlement. What he didn't know was I'd already spent the night reviewing every minute of that footage. Each tape showed the same pattern. Jamie would announce their break over the headset and head to the back. The moment the bathroom door closed, Mark would emerge from his office, glance around nervously, then use his key to open the register. He'd slip bills into his pocket, then adjust the remaining cash to make it less obvious. On the third tape, he actually looked at the camera, then reached up and adjusted its angle slightly. Not enough to be obvious, but enough to partially obscure the register. The smug smile on his face made my blood boil. When I presented this evidence at the hearing, I didn't just show the clips of him stealing. I showed Jamie checking the register at the start of shifts, looking confused at the numbers. I showed Jamie helping elderly customers count their change. And then, I showed Mark systematically stealing and framing a kid whose mother was fighting cancer. The judge didn't just dismiss the case. She ordered Mark detained for filing false charges and theft. In my 20 years on the bench, she said, I've rarely seen such a calculated attempt to destroy a young person's life for your own gain. Turns out he'd pulled this same scam back. As security escorted him out, Jamie stood up straight, looked him in the eye, and said clearly, my mom taught me that character is what you do when nobody's watching. I guess the cameras were watching you all along. The look on Mark's face as he was led away while Jamie hugged me was absolutely priceless.